Okay, let's look at question 5. Okay, here we have the question. I pasted into Word. Okay. Immigration reform has focused on dividing illegal migrants into two groups, long-term and short-term. Here, it sounds like we have a categorical variable, which is the type of illegal immigrants. It has two categories, long-term and short-term. In a random sample of 820 construction workers from the Northeast, 63 are illegal, short-term immigrants. In the Midwest, 57 out of 1,053 are illegal, short-term immigrants. Okay, let's try to prepare the contingency table. It will help us understand the data. Okay, so we have a column variable, type of illegal immigrants. It has two categories, short-term and long-term. And we have a row variable, which shows the region. It has again two categories, Northeast with Midwest. So here we have Northeast, Midwest. And in the Northeast, 63 are short-term. So here we have 63 short-term. So the remaining are long-term. So 720 minus 63, 757 long-term. Similar in Midwest, 57 are short-term. There is a total of 1,053, so 996 long-term illegal workers. So once we prepare this table, okay, we can perform our analysis. Now, the backbone of hypothesis testing procedure is how to define the null and alternative hypothesis. So it is obvious now that it's a chi-square test. We have categorical variables and counts of data. And since we have two categorical variables, it is either a test of independence or test for homogeneity. Now, what we see in the question, we should look for keywords. Okay, what are we trying to see? Let's go to the question. Is there evidence that the percentage of construction workers who are illegal short-term immigrants differs in the two regions? So is the short-term, the percentage of the short-term immigrants distributed similarly, homogeneously in the two regions? So it implies that there is a test for homogeneity. So we should look for something along this line. These distributions of worker type are the same for both regions. The distribution of worker type are not the same for both regions. Okay. Then calculate the test statistics. Okay. Let's open StatCrunch. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's open StatCrunch. Here, let's write the contingency table. We have regions. Okay, regions. Northeast and Midwest. And we have short-term and long-term workers. Here we have 63, 7, and 6. Okay, so let's see. Here, under stats, we go to tables, go to contingency tables, and we go to summary. So summary in the form of counts. Now select the columns. Now the column variable, the categories of the column variable. Okay, short term and long term. I click control, click, okay. Short term, long term. Then I select the row variable, which is the regions. Okay, the categories for the row variable are included in the regions column. Then, whether as we said, the chi-square test for independence and homogeneity have the same mechanics of hypothesis testing. So for both, I select chi-square test for independence, and we hit compute. So it is the chi-square test statistics is 3.96 and p-value is 0.0466. Okay. Then we enter them and we check. It is less than 0.05, so we reject the null hypothesis and we make a conclusion in favor of the alternative hypothesis. So there is sufficient evidence. We say there is sufficient evidence to conclude, and we write the statement here in the alternative hypothesis. So it says the percentage of construction workers who are illegal short-term immigrants differs in the two regions, are not same in the two regions. Okay. Then give a 90% confidence interval for the difference in proportions. Okay, as we said, when the categorical variable has two categories, we can also apply a test hypothesis testing for the difference of proportions to arrive at the same conclusion. Since we have two types of workers, we can do the difference in proportions hypothesis testing. For this, let's go to StatGrange. Okay. Here, under stat, we have proportion stats. And we have two sample proportion stats with summary. Now, number of successes. Now, we will compare the proportion of short-term illegal workers in both regions. So in the Northeast, we have 63 short-term workers. Short-term workers, we call it number of successes. And we have in total 820 workers. In the second region, Midwest, we have 57 short-term workers, and number of observations is 1053. Then we apply a confidence interval for the difference in proportion, but we are asked to find a 90% confidence interval. So we change it here, and I click it. Here we find the lower limit of this confidence interval and the upper limit of the confidence interval. So it is 0.00035, or it is 0.004. Okay, up to 3 decimal places. 0.042. Okay, and we come and enter these numbers here. Okay, so the difference, we are 90% confidence that the difference in the proportions of short-term workers falls in this interval with 90% confidence level. Now, in question 6, okay, here we have some tests, and it asks find the expected counts for each cell. So we click this data table, open it in StatGrange, and run the tests. Okay, so it summaries tables, contingency tables, it's summary. Now here we have the column variable have these categories, and the row variable have categories under this column. And we perform chi-square test for independence. It is for test of independence and test of homogeneity, remember. And here we have the option to display expected count. So we click it and we hit compute. Now you see that in the cell format, the numbers above show count, the number in parentheses show expected count. So here, the observed count is 681, but the expected count for this cell is 1550. Okay, so you can write the numbers here. Great. Now let's go to question 4. Okay, here again we have, it says ignore responses of no answer, don't know. Okay, let's come here. Make sure that when you select the categories for this category column variable, don't select this column, okay, because it says ignore it. Okay, in question 3, okay, again you will perform a test of independence or test of homogeneity. But when you open the data in StatGrange, there is something that you need to be careful. Here we have the total, and we have the total. If you keep these values, the StatGrange will treat them as a category. So you don't include these values, okay? So just make sure that you delete these so that it does not take the data points here into analysis. Okay, you can also delete this. So you just make sure that you have the data for the categories only. Okay, that's all. Thank you.